another episode of Off Mic. My name is Dotun Roy, and joining me in the studio is Kayode. Kayode is a tech expert and digital media guru, and we'll be having conversation around what is happening within the digital economy in Nigeria. Welcome to Hot Mic.
Let me give you a handshake.
Yeah, you're welcome, Kayode.
Thank you so much
Yeah,
for
good
having
to
me.
have you on this podcast today.
Mhm.
I would like you to, share with me. You were with me that space.
Yeah.
You work there, and you have a couple of experiences. I mean, years of experience, not couple. What is really happening? Are we transiting to digital economy, or we are already there? Because I ask you that because the Minister of Communication and Digital Economy,
Bosun Tijani.
Honorable Eya, made a statement that the sector is really growing and it's booming. Look, judging by the FDI, the foreign direct investment that have been made since 2024 and the previous year, 2023. But for me, as I wouldn't say I'm fully in the within the
This
digital
space.
but I'm in the media, but I couldn't feel it. So I was prompted to create this conversation around that because we need to get to the bottom of it. People need to know what is happening in that sector to know whether to invest or to stay where they are. Because when the minister say a sector is booming, then it calls for more investment, right?
Yes.
I mean, an average Nigerian should look into it and say, let me learn something in this sector and increase my purchasing power and also make some investment. So what is really happening? Are we transiting to digital economy or we are still where we are?
So I would say that quite an interesting topic, by the way.
Yeah.
That's where we are in this current dispensation is that I won't say we are where we want to be,
Okay.
but we're not where we used to be. So in the last 2 or 3 years, we've seen emergence of people. I mean, learning digital skills, UI UX, software engineers
Yeah.
coming up, graphic designers, web developers, app creators, and all of that.
Yeah.
People are becoming more aware that we can take that out because again, when you look at the nature of our country, it's not such that people graduate and get readily available jobs. So they have to, create something. So that has given birth to people now going online to go and look for courses that would, in a way, empower them to be tech users. But when we talk about tech in Nigeria, it's a wholesome conversation that at times we need to break it side by side.
Okay.
Because when I say we are not yet there, is that first we lack basic amenities. I call it basic amenities. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Infrastructure we should not really, for example, power.
Right.
Do you understand? Power, as little as it is. This is how many years? 1960 after independence. How many years now? And we don't have constant power supply. So, for example, I start working on a project and my power supply cannot carry me. I need to look for a generator or look for a power bank somewhere created by another economy somewhere that is being sold to us that we are buying. That's digital economy, right? Because, for example, you go to stores in China, you see them creating a power bank that can charge your laptop. Most users currently in Nigeria are buying that. That's purchasing power already.
Exactly.
So when it comes to the basic infrastructure that we need for that sector to thrive, we are not there yet. But when it comes to awareness, and this awareness I'm talking about is not that I know government is trying to intervene, but I do not have facts to back it up. I feel it's people who are curious, who are tired of where they are, and individuals online. We have a couple of guys on Twitter. I don't want to mention names so that it doesn't be like I'm promoting their brand that always talk about tech. They are putting out rules out that people can join. So we are not where we want to be, but in a fair side, at least we have transitioned from where we used to be. At least people are more aware of tech now in Nigeria.
Yeah, thank you for that. Why we are having this conversation, right?
Yeah.
Was the fact that when I saw that news, this news, and I read through, and everything that news looked like I've been out of this world. Like I've been living in Mars. Like so, these things are happening here because I saw those data being reeled out. You know, about the figure that the sector has been,
So
turning over.
so let me even cut you in that as regards that.
Yeah,
So when we talk about data,
yeah,
the fact is that Nigeria does not have a functional data. I mean, saying it out here, I know it's going out.
yeah.
There are things you need, particular data that you need that you're right to even. I don't want to mention the institution name, but let's say Nigerian National Bureau NBC statistic NBS rather, and you need some certain statistics, and they don't even have the statistics. So to even power a tech sector, you need that. You need data.
I mean, not just data, accurate, consistent, reliable data, because some data are not even, reliable. So now the ones that the Minister of Communication and Digital Economy shared, I look at it, I was like, so all these figures, they are in Nigeria.
Then you ask yourself, how many millions do we have in Nigeria?
Am I in the wrong sector? Am I in the right sector? Because I mean, as a young person, I still count myself as a young person.
Mhm.
I mean, the active people in Nigeria right now have one tech knowledge or the other between the ages of 18 at least to 45 or 50. You should know. I mean,
At least
they are the
to an
most
extent.
productive people
Yes.
and thriving people within the tech sector in Nigeria right now. So when I read it, I'm like, am I missing something? Okay, then I think I need to have conversation around it. You mentioned something. You mentioned it, infrastructure.
Yes.
It was specific about infrastructure development on X because he put it on Twitter and people jumped on that
of course.
conversation. I'm like, you are a failed minister. I could have read it out. But,
Please.
there's no need re-echoing that. I wouldn't want to re-echo
Okay,
that
so
it's an honorable minister and people still deserve some honor.
so to be very fair, right?
Yeah.
I think what is happening is that
Yeah.
a lot of people have high expectation of the minister
Okay.
because of what he has done before, his trajectory. I think CC Hub in Lagos, he was the one that. So that ecosystem where we have people like Kayode or Vandela that at points were going to those places. So he had created a working system to enable an ecosystem, so to enable people to participate or come and learn tech or to work. So I think it is with that idea that people now say, okay, you know what, we expect so much from you. So I think that's where the issue is coming from.
The high expectation
shown is so much.
Exactly. So now when I saw that, I was okay. I said, okay, let me have conversation with the right person.
Yeah.
And then those who are really active in that sector
space,
to share what is happening. So now back to digital economy that we mentioned, that I mentioned earlier. Would you say you said we are not there yet?
Yes.
But we are moving closer.
Yes.
So what are the indicators that we are moving closer? Or what are the indices of digital economy currently in Nigeria that you can say?
Well, so since we're online, since we're online, yes, they are. So I don't give enough data, and somebody now points back to me and say, you're giving inaccurate data. But I mean, you pick. Let me just say places that are not remote, urban center. Okay. At least to an extent, you get people talking about tech. People are quite aware of tech. I mean, in urban areas. Compared to the remote settlement. So I also do a bit of development work. So I go into remote communities and so and you see a community that does not have power supply. They don't even know what phone is to start with. So I mean, if you want to use an indices or to as a way of measuring if tech is being visible there, the answer would be no. So among people that are staying or living in urban settlements, let's say Lagos, populated city, Abuja, Port Harcourt, and maybe capital of states in Nigeria, they are aware to an extent that, okay, we have tech, yes, tech is going on. But when you go to the remote places, they don't understand what UI UX means. They don't understand what a website means. In fact, they don't understand what a power bank is. Some people have not even seen.
Let me even share one awkward experience with you. I went to a place called Bacha.
That name sounds remote actually.
Bachaka in Kayode State is a community. As of 2020 or 2019, I went there for a field work and all that. And you believe that they've not seen laptop before, they've not seen tablet before, they've not seen all these things before. And the kids, in fact, they almost broke my laptop, because they they were playing a video on it, and they were like, there was no light. They were disconnected from power. The community, they primarily thrive on agriculture, and that's what they do for surviving. So I look at it, I'm like, wow. And this is the era where in my office we could not do anything back in Abuja
without
just to buttress what you said about urban and remote communities. All the focus is more on urban.
Yes, than
remote. So I think reason why this conversation is important is for us to identify these gaps. When we identify these gaps,
we may be able to
we provide recommendations for the ministries to fill up these gaps, to attend to them, to visit these remote communities, and empower them to be part of digital economy. Because when we say digital economy, it means that the economy solely relies on digitalization. But all the indices of digitalization only when all the indices of digitalization and digitalization only exist within the urban center, then we are not making any headway. We won't make any headway.
I even feel like this conversation is so good because as we're talking, I'm beginning to see
it's
unraveling.
Exactly. So that's why I look at it and say, even me, when I saw what the minister posted and the news, I'm like, I need to explore. This is an opportunity for me in this is happening in this sector. Then maybe I need to diversify I need to learn digital skills.
But in
order to key into it.
Like I won't really, because now we're in a global age where that 1 minute you're in the US, the second minute you're in Canada, and you have not left the
room in one suburb.
I'm telling you,
one suburban in Abuja, because many of us live in the
Abuja. Yeah, some people live in Abuja. There's in Abuja.
There is remote community inside of our sectors. So just like we have some, remote communities in Abuja where we, couldn't believe that some from these remote communities are surrounded by hills and rock.
Yes, now
they suffer
before they even come out.
They suffer before they even come out to the center, and also they suffer lack of infrastructure.
Yes.
Like they struggle to connect to internet. So, I'm telling you, there's this community I visited around they call it Metama Extension, around that rocky part of Katampe.
Okay.
Do you believe that they
struggle?
They struggle to access.
That's federal capital territory.
Within the federal capital territory, and so you mean that means even the urban center, there are some places where they suffer connectivity. Internet, lack of connectivity.
So that's why they are for thank God you're a media practitioner. Yeah. They are you want to upload online, and you might have to literally take 2 days before those video upload because it's just going on KB speed. And you are waiting all the nights. Exactly. But here we are talking about digital economy. So I mean, I don't want to say the wrong priorities, right? But the intervention should be on how do we have access to internet? How do you have access to power supply?
Now the foundation, the bedrock of any digital economy is internet.
We can't even take that away.
It's the key, it's the fundamental, it's the cornerstone,
it's the bedrock
of what we are talking about. So
it's like saying bread and butter, but you don't have bread, it's butter you have.
And then now let's appraise the current internet connectivity in the country right now. How would you describe, how would you explain their service? Are they efficient? Let's look at the ISPs that we have.
It's 5G.
Let's from MTN. They all cry, they all shout, they all announce that they moved.
I'm not even sure it's even 5G. Maybe it's just 4G that they they camouflage as 5G.
There was even a period where someone it was a man of God that said 5G is demonic.
I don't want to
Remember
mention the man of God.
Let's not mention. We are trying to not.
Yes.
So now that's level that we.
Some countries are doing 10G. I can't remember. China specifically. I think that was last 2 months. Like, I'm not so sure, but I think I was hearing 10G. I mean, so while we are still stuck in 5G, somebody's doing double.
Even the 5G is not 5G.
The 5G, you just made mention that there are places to go, don't even have 1G.
I moved to this community here in Abuja and my phone went blank. I could not receive. People were like asking me, where did you go, David? When the moment I moved to like Wuse, message started pouring in. I was like, was I in a village within the FCT? So it's crazy. So we are still struggling with the internet.
Yes.
It's a fact. It's a known fact that internet is not stable yet. Our telecommunication companies are, overbidding us. And that's another. We are struggling with transparency, pricing transparency. It's a challenge. We are still battling that. And there's another tariff issue that federal government is putting on everyone. So if you run a business,
so much tax.
Yeah, if you run a business, because these are indices, these are key indicators of the economy.
Of course.
So you run a business, you run a small enterprise that solely rely on internet.
For example, you're transferring money online.
Exactly.
And I'm paying.
Exactly.
The amount I'm paying. So for a fact, when I do my transfers this day, I don't even know the amount I'm paying. That's the fact. So imagine me trying to talk to someone in the remote area about transferring money and the rest. The person tells you, I prefer to have my money cash on my hand because you're not going to charge me all those. Exactly. How do you explain to that person that you are charging for this amount because digital levy? Yeah. All of this is very, very funny. I know it's good and it's an avenue for the government to rake in money rather. Once they rake in that money, we expect to see infrastructures. We expect to see that there's a gap that is being bridged between those that are remote areas and those that are in the urban area. So it's just a lot to discuss actually.
Exactly. Another challenge that we all need to address as a nation if we really want to enjoy the transitioning into digital economy is the fear of disruption. The fear of disruption in the sense that digital bank transfer.
Yes.
Or digital banking that digital banking has been doing. Digital banking like OPay, Money Point, and the rest of them are doing has caused a lot of controversy within the conventional banking sector.
Yes.
Now they now see them as rival. There is this rivalry going on between them to the point that there was this rumor that I heard that they might soon clamp down on them and make sure they don't function anymore.
So the issue is about there's a conversation around this conversation where I like to say that when we talk about technology in itself is meant to make your life easier. Whatever doesn't make your
the old ways, by disrupting the status quo, which we all used to, the normal banking.
Yes.
Now this digital banking came. Do you know they make life easier than before? When you make transfer, you have to wait for 24 hours. But with this, now you're
talking about OP, for example. I'm sending money to someone and they've built it in such a way that if the other receiving bank has an issue, it alerts you that this bank is having an issue. Don't send the money now. Do you understand the sweetness that comes with it? As you are flipping no more than 2 or 3 pages, you have done your transaction compared to some traditional banks where you would have to go like 5 pages to make transaction. They just make it very seamless and easy.
And then so now with that, the conventional bank now begin to feel threatened, like they are stealing their customers, they are moving their customers.
Don't mind them, they are customers for everyone.
Exactly.
Have you heard the major banks declaring profits last year?
PalmPay was among the top performing bank. In fact, it's not number one. I think they came after Zenith or something.
I think Zenith came first.
So that's an indication. It's an indication that we are moving actually. But it only exists in one sector. we are looking at we want to see the digital economy. I mean, try digital economy.
That's why
We have to be all sector.
that's what I
One
want to
sector
say.
should not be performing better than the
So
other.
for me, when I knew about this, I actually did a bit of research more.
Okay.
That's when you go online to go and search for our tech giants. I mean, in Nigeria, with the likes of Inyaboyeji, Odoayo, and the best guys in Paystack and the rest. They are all financial organizations. So I want to start seeing a shift from fintech to other places. I know there's somebody doing in edutech, agrotech.
So let's banking, only banking, and banking is not the only.
And so let me quickly shock you.
Banking is doing fine.
Let me quickly shock you when it comes to the conversations around tech, which is, like I told you, I have a bit of background in development space. A lot of things that we are learning when it comes to UI UX is that we are learning to survive. Okay. I know a lot of people might not like what I've just said. We are learning to survive, to earn a means. Then the best of us are elevated higher. For example, I have an editor in this house. The editor will be aware of Premiere Pro, After Effects. Someone sat down to create that. But when we come to Nigeria, we have good users who can use this software. But creating the software that generates the more money is harder. So I want us to start seeing a mind shift where we move from the user to the creator economy when it comes to tech.
Okay. We are more. I like that. We are more of consumer. The consumer mentality is really ruining the creativity, the ingenuity in Nigerians. We just want to be consuming. Especially once from outside Nigeria, we embrace it.
So that's
it. Nigerian is behind it. We feel reluctant, like, oh, you see my people. If a Nigerian comes up with Facebook, another something to compete.
Well, we
subscribe.
I can't use that. I can't use that.
They go ask you. In fact, we discourage ourselves that guy will take your
data.
In fact, he's selling your
data. Sell your data.
So those are the challenges we face.
Fear
of disruption, fear of competition in the sector and all that. So I think so, with this podcast, I think the minister and the relevant authority should take few cues to work on, because as we transit, because the transitioning may still take a while.
Yes, it's
with some of these
a process.
With some
gradually.
Some of these challenges are not properly, put in place, correct, and
managed,
removed. We may not really enjoy the.
It's just going to be for a few and not for all.
And then they also need to leverage on the by empowering the youth, building the capacity of the young people, because they are the vibrant, the productive, the demographic that will work, assiduously in the digital economy.
Yes, very much.
I really appreciate your coming.
Oh, thank you very much.
I enjoyed the conversation.
Thank you so much. I do too.
I hope to have you on this podcast again.
Of course. Of course.
And this is where we wrap it up on this episode of On Mic. I remain your host, Dotun Roy, and see you next time.
Next time.
Bye.